Hey guys, Mr. Bohoric here, and today I'll be showing you how to factor trinomials by grouping. Just a heads up, if you haven't watched the other grouping videos, you need to watch those first before going through this one, as we'll be using some of the steps from those videos. Alright, so factoring trinomials by grouping is actually just kind of the box method, but it's not written as fancy and nice and pretty as the box method is. But it's really the same steps. So what we'll be doing here to factor this trinomial is multiplying a times c, that's 24 times negative 25. Finding the factors of a times c that add up to b. We'll rewrite that using the factors, and then we'll factor by grouping. Alright, so let's go ahead and start this example. Alright, so 24 times negative 25, step 1, that gives us a negative 600. Step 2, the two factors of negative 600 that add up to 25 are going to be a positive 40 and negative 15. Now we're going to rewrite our trinomial using those two factors. So remember, the sum of those two guys right there will add up to b. So we could replace b, or replace 25 with the sum of these two, like so. 24q squared plus, and in parentheses, 40 plus negative 15q minus 25. Now we can actually simplify this a little bit more into 24q squared plus 40q minus 15q, or plus negative, and then minus 25. When you start to get good at this, you can actually skip this distributive step. It's really kind of unnecessary, but it helps you to see where that comes from. Alright, now we can actually factor this by grouping. So let's find the GCF of the first two terms. We'll find the GCF of the last two terms. Then we'll rearrange and we'll have our two binomials. Alright, the GCF of the first two terms looks like it should be an 8q. Alright, that gives us a 3q plus 5. Remember, when we factor the GCF of these two terms, it has to end up being 3q plus 5 now. Right? So that means that we should factor out a negative 5. When we do that, we get 3q plus 5. Now let's just go ahead and rearrange that. We'll factor out our binomial, and we'll be done. 8q minus 5, and there's our 3q plus 5. Now you may be wondering, oh no, well what if I did negative 15 plus 40 right here? So it ended up being 24q squared minus 15q plus 40q minus 25. Well, if you're wondering that, it actually ends up being the exact same thing when you're done. I challenge you to go ahead and try that out on your own if you don't believe me, but I guarantee you you'll get the exact same thing that we got here. And that would be factoring trinomials by grouping.